Good evening and welcome to I Am Piscataway. This is Wednesday, September 4th, and we're on the air live. If you'd like to speak with me or my guests, please call us at any time during this hour-long program at 732-562-2305. Our guests tonight are Piscataway Township Council Vice President Gabrielle Cahill, the new Piscataway School Superintendent Dr. Frank Ranelli, and the newly elected school board member Shelia Hobson. I wanted to make sure I got that correct there. So Shelia Hobson is the newly elected board member. She brings to our school system more than 25 years of law enforcement experience. As a lieutenant in the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, Shelia was the first female detective assigned to the homicide unit. She also provided crisis management training and stress awareness education to more than 16,000 officers and their superiors. In addition to her school board duties, Shelia is also a pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Fords, and welcome to the show, Shelia.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good. And Dr. Frank Ranelli is our new superintendent, and he began his career as a special education teacher in his hometown of Woodbridge, and we're not going to hold you against that. And he later served as an assistant principal and principal at schools in Burlington and Camden counties before coming to Piscataway 5 years ago. Dr. Ranelli has a bachelor's degree from Cahill University and a master's degree from Georgia Court University and a doctorate from Wilmington University. Welcome to the show, Frank Ranelli.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good. Gabrielle Cahill is our Township Council Vice President, and she first elected in 2008 and is an at-large seat on the Township Council and was reelected in 2012 and 2016. Gabrielle serves on the Public Safety and Personnel Committees, and welcome back to the show, Councilwoman Cahill.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, school's open. First day, today was the first official day of school. I had probably a lot of anxious parents throughout Piscataway Township for those kids that are school age going off to school. And I know my wife was out there at 6:30 in the morning taking a picture of my son who's in his senior year now to make sure you got the final picture for the out there. I was just amazed, Dr. Ranelli, that my son, for the first time in all of his 300 years, I used to have to drag him out of bed and drop him off to make sure he got to the school on time. He was actually up and ready by 6:15. It was a total shocker, but I figured out, you know what it was, Shelia? He wanted to drive the car so he can go get something at Dunkin' Donuts before he went to school. So I guess I had to wait three plus years for him to get up on time and not have to be chased out of bed to go to school. So
yeah, it was a great day today. Yesterday we welcomed the staff, and today we welcomed all the kids, and driving around the district and hitting as many schools as I could in the morning. A lot of smiling faces. Everything was organized well, and we're really happy with the opening.
So I guess the school year, I guess probably I don't know, maybe we should go this route. I guess maybe we should go by like grade, like what parents can expect, like through pre-K through, say third grade and fourth, fifth, and sixth, the third, fourth, and fifth, and then the junior highs, and then the high school. What expectations, new things that are going to be out there for parents to see or have their children take advantage of while they're in the school system?
Sure. We pride ourselves in obviously a comprehensive curriculum, and we really try to offer the students as much as we can at a younger and younger age. For example, we have digital literacy as low as kindergarten, where kindergarten kids, the students are coming in, learning how to use a keyboard, not just the iPad that they're used to before they come in. They have a different language that they're coming with to us than we had, right?
Well, they know how to use a computer than their parents.
Right, yeah, exactly. Sometimes they're teaching us, right? So they come to us with a different language. So, we try to get them ready for the school-type technology that they're going to see. We offer instrumental music in the primary grades as well. Obviously, I'm not missing the math, social studies, science, and language arts, but other things that the kids can take advantage of.
Well, I think one of the things, and whenever either one of you want to jump in, feel free to do that. It's non-scripted here, as you see. Since you've been involved in education for all your adult life, what are some like the major changes that you've seen as an educator, say in the last 20 years?
I think what we're seeing, or what I'm seeing, is obviously the infusion of technology and what we can and can't do with that. I always look at it, though, as a balance. For me, there has to be still that balance of the soft skills that students need. The communication, the eye contact, the shaking hands, the being on time, things like that. So, we have to balance bringing in as much as their language as we can, along with, keeping to what the real world, quote unquote, is looking for in the productive citizens of the future. But there are definitely changes, changes in the way we teach, new math styles.
I hate to say it,
Yeah.
Dr. Ranelli, I was the one where I used to remember used to get a crack on the fingers with the ruler.
Well, so I was the one.
I remember those days.
I was the one who, an educator my whole life, who had problems teaching my one of my kids the way they were learning their 6th grade math. Because they were coming in, and things are changing the way they, the way they're teaching things. The next generation science standards is all experimental based. So things change a little bit over time. But for me, as an educator, it all comes back to the relationships of the teachers and the students. How the student feels when they sit in the seat. Do they feel like they belong and they have a place in their society, in their environment, whatever that environment is. As low as their classroom, at home, on the playground, do they feel like they belong? Like I said, we invited the teachers yesterday for a convocation as they're getting ready for the day. And at the end of last year, I asked some students to write thank you letters to teachers to kind of surprise them yesterday. And the very last one that I read yesterday to everyone, to all 800 teachers, said something about, you're wonderful at teaching us math, and in my class I feel like I belong. And that's the most important thing for me, because then they break down those walls and they can really, really learn.
Well, Shelia, I don't know, you come to the school board by a much interesting background in your prior professional career. How does that, trying to meld your prior professional career and being a Board of Ed member on that, seeing some of the differences from you professionally growing up in your field versus today and what you're seeing in the school district?
Well, I'm really blessed because I think about the fact that I had a son and I have a granddaughter, and my granddaughter's 12. So I put all that together when I'm at a board meeting and things come up about what the school needs. I think about what my granddaughter would need. And I feel, so blessed to be in the position to say, yeah, you know what, that's a great benefit. And then perhaps I could bring that to my son to bring to his school where my granddaughter is. So it works out for me. It was unfortunate. I worked, of course I worked in homicide, but prior to working in homicide, I had to do a little something throughout the prosecutor's office, and I had to deal with some children, and it was always children from a broken family, and that always breaks your heart. So I think about that, and I think about the fact that now I'm in a position to help those children.
Well, there's no doubt that when there's a more conducive family life there in a home, it does give a leg up to that student or students down there. Because, Councilwoman, did you have a question?
Well, I was just going to ask this question as you were talking about new technology and the way in which students are learning now. I recall hearing something about a large tech company, I won't name it, who talked about higher ed not serving necessarily the students there with the type of work that would be done at their company, and that perhaps they could train these high school graduates better than maybe higher ed. So I'm just wondering, does that trickle down to the high school and elementary level, and how can the school react to a statement made by such a executive at such a large place who's a big influencer, so that traditional education paths can still be extremely viable, and that we also don't lose that core secondary? Because when you commented about, well, they come in with a new language, meaning more technical stuff, but that they still have to learn how to make eye contact and all that stuff. My fear is that if traditional school goes away, that sort of also goes away.
Yeah, so we agree, and I think we really try to focus on what the industries and what the businesses are looking for. A lot of colleges, secondary places, like a certain platform. of technology.
Right.
And if you look into the industry and if you look into what's bearing out when students actually make that transition to the work world, it's a different platform. So we in Piscataway have stood really pat on the one platform that the industry really holds dear and that we can really go forward with. And I'll give you an example, and I talk about my kids a lot. I have 3 kids. One I just dropped off as a freshman to college, and I have a sophomore girl and a junior girl as well. And the college students majoring in engineering, and we're very blessed, and we're really lucky that they're happy and healthy and well adjusted. But right, majoring in engineering, and he wanted a certain platform of technology, and we look at the industry, and we made 5, 6, 7 calls, and it's just the opposite. You know, so we're cognizant of that, and we try to push that down. Transition years for us are extremely important, meaning transition from 5th grade to middle school, 8th grade to high school. More importantly to me is, are we getting them ready for that transition year from 12th grade to what's next? Whether it be the industry, whether it be college, whether it be the military or some kind of trade school. So we definitely do look at that, and we try to push down education on all platforms that we possibly can.
You just touched on something, if I could just add to my questioning, that trade piece. So, you know, and of late we've heard like some hubbub about how well does the cost of higher ed serve to people going into maybe into white collar jobs that are sort of going away based again upon technology advancing, and where trade may always have to be there. Well, I think it would always have to be there, right? How does Piscataway High help that particular segment?
Sure. I've been lucky to have many experiences in my career. One of them being principal of a vocational school for 6 years. So I hold that work world and the transition to work world very dear. Not to mention exactly what you said, the higher ed might not be the option for everyone. Not to mention also trade schools and going into industries and internships can be very fruitful. You know, how much do you pay for a plumber, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't get an air-conditioned guy in the summer when you need him, or a girl in the summer. So, you know, those things are really, really important to us. So we don't shy away from that.
Oh, that's excellent.
We are very much proponents of whatever is going to serve society, student. And again, my son will come out with a certain amount of debt. Right, and we went over those options with him, and he made his decision, and he's going to have to live with that.
Right, right.
Well, I after seeing a lot of the businesses that are located in our community, it's in talking with some of the owners and the CEOs, it's blatantly obvious that there's a coordinated effort by industry that they will not move into a particular community unless there's an educated workforce.
Yeah.
Because they're in the business of making money.
Sure.
And they're not going to be able to make it if you don't have an educated workforce.
That's right.
Because a lot of the things now, especially with, like, for instance, Cascades that just moved into Piscataway last year from Montreal, they have one of the most state-of-the-art packaging facilities in the world. And that takes a lot of knowledge to operate those computerized machines there.
Right.
And you have to actually have some knowledge of math.
Yeah, it's a high skill
Right there.
level
So
that
it's just not high skill, but it's also low skill.
Absolutely.
The basics that you learned in school is required for these jobs. And they do work with the workforce development in the county, Shelia, you know, but the thing is that they want to know what the education system is in Piscataway, how's the county prepared vocational and also the county college and also Rutgers University.
Yeah.
You know, this whole, you know, basically tri-county region here. And that's why we've been fortunate now. A lot of the businesses are now moving into these old brownfields industrial sites and reinventing them because it has to do with the education workforce right there, because they have a hard time, even though they might have lower taxes to locate their businesses down in the South. but they don't have a highly educated workforce.
And again, we pride ourselves in as many internships and partnerships as we can. We have a great deal of business, quote unquote, with Rutgers University. And with my transition to the new seat, we're looking to increase our partnerships and internships with Johnson & Johnson, IEEE, all of the other larger and smaller. I mean, we have an intern working for you right now, and Ronnie's doing a great job.
Well, that's always been like working with the university. It's always been one of the tough things. I've seen a lot of university presidents come and go.
Yeah.
And there's the town, the gown cities, and they just, it's like an island unto itself. It's there's so much more that can be done between, the city of New Brunswick, Piscataway Township, the city of Newark, the city of Camden with the university, that they're leaving a lot of good things that potentially happen on the table.
Sure. And that's why I think the embedded programs will last. We have a biomedical program at the high school that students earn up to 14 credits for the college, and that's been going on for years.
That's fantastic.
We have the Haven, which is a Rutgers program that comes in and helps counsel our kids. We also have other academic programs that are, again, if they're embedded and sustained, hopefully the leadership wouldn't look at it and say, well, it's not worthwhile.
Well, that's the key, is just keep it in there, because universities presidents do come and go.
They do.
So we're gonna go to our first video clip here. We have the clip of the opening season of Popwarner, 2019 Popwarner. Let's go to the videotape. Obviously, see out here, this was the last practice before the opening game. Right there. I always have a chance to stop by and see all the different teams and the cheerleading squads out there. And these are obviously all children involved and enrolled at the Piscataway school system here, probably 95% of them out there. And all these folks, all the coaches are all volunteers. They give a lot of time and effort out there to teach the children. And then we also have a new flag football program now, because a lot of parents still don't worried about concussions, rightfully so.
Right.
And now that we have a flag football, which I can remember when I was at Randolph Hill School as a little kid, we used to play flag football over at lunch break. So I'm really starting to date myself there. But this is also our cheerleading squads, the different squads here right there. So I want to thank the volunteers there for the upcoming season. I think this week is going to be their second game that they'll be out there. And we have another clip. Let's go to that videotape there. Okay, we're gathered down here today for the ribbon cutting of the renovation of the Ernie Day Memorial Overlook here. Just by way of background for all the township residents, going back almost 30 plus years ago, a gentleman that lived here in the New Market area named Ernie Day donated money to Piscataway Township to build a scenic overlook looking over at the old dam that used to be down here. And over the years, it kind of got withered away and things like that. And then over the course of the last 17 years, when we've been doing renovations along the New Market Pond here, we decided it was time, obviously, to renovate the scenic overlook. So we are reintroducing today, this evening, the official Ernie Day Overlook. And we're going to get a plaque up commemorating this, obviously. But we have some of the folks and volunteers from PCTV, also Councilman Jim Ballard, and some local residents here, Josephine and Greg here, who just happened to pull up their car here for the ribbon cutting, so they were right on time and right on cue. So I'm going to pass the mic over to my assistant here. There we go. It's official. It's now open, the official Ernie Day Overlook, and I encourage all the residents, please come down and not just use this during these summer months, but 365 days a year, because these improvements have been installed here for township residents to use, both to drive and to bike and to walk here in the New Market section of Piscataway. Well, Councilwoman, I think one of the things that we are missing down there that we have to reinstall is the plaque honoring Ernie Day down there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, somebody stole the plaque. I can't figure out what this thing is. There's just a little bronze plaque Shelia and somebody said, so we're going to get a new one and put up there. So with that further ado, we do have another video clip and another rededication. Let's go to the videotape. At this point, I would like to bring up Jerry Gargiulio and his son, Jim. Come on up. And they're going to explain a little bit in detail what this plaque is all about. And I want to thank the militia for being out here. My father's going to tell you a story
about a man named John Graves Simcoe. He's a controversial figure for sure, as many are in history, and we're not here to judge him one way or the other. We're here simply to tell his story as it relates to our area, and then beyond that. But it's up to you to come to your own conclusions. We're just here to tell the story.
When British Colonel John Graves Simcoe rode up with nearly 100 Tory and loyal horsemen. They were all dressed in uniforms, like green uniforms, like you see these gentlemen here. They had crossed from Staten Island by boat as darkness fell the night before, then rode all night to this location. So the tavern keeper brought out some bread and fried pork for the horsemen, while I drank from the well and the horses ate grain and drank from the troughs. Well, you didn't find out until you were back in Jersey City 2 weeks later that the riders you all greeted so warmly were British and Tory raiders of the Queen's Rangers that you mistook for patriots. On October 26th, the raiders had gone on to free Tory prisoners, burn militia boats on the Raritan, and much of the Somerset County seat.
Pancreatic cancer, but it was really sad about that. But I want to thank Jerry Gargiulo, again, the Gargiulo family, for all the hard work they've done throughout the years and doing a lot of research out there. And I always love when they have their friends in their colonial uniforms come and show up at the events. So we do have another clip. It's about the Redbud rededication. Let's go to that videotape. Okay, we're down here at the newly refurbished Redbud Park here. This park was originally built in 1984, and we have one of the original owners is actually still here, believe it or not. And we just refurbished this park this past year or so in the parking lot, and this park I believe is going to be heavily used by all the children here, and for everybody's good. These are one of the great projects that the Township Council and myself enjoy seeing, that public improvements happen to local neighborhoods. We're very blessed in Piscataway. We have 26 plus neighborhood parks in this town. And we're at the point now, within the next year and a half, we should have all the parks now with all the new federal ADA standard improvements at the parks with the playground equipment. And then the last year, we finished up our 3-year program of refurbishing all the basketball and tennis courts and some of the parking lots in the park. So in conjunction with School Street being reconstructed, now that people can safely walk down that street, and this street being reconstructed, as well as this park, I want to thank everybody for their patience, the parents, and all the kids out here. And I know it's a week before school, and you're all going to study hard this year, correct? Yeah, okay, that's what I want. 2, 1. Everybody came out of the woodwork to come for the dedication, so it was good. So, but we were before we go into the announcements, we were talking a little bit about melding how the workforce and when you're in the high school, how that is going to play out with their lives and things like that. But in order to get to that stage, there are several other stages in the school system to go along there. So maybe what we'll do is maybe we can talk for like 5 minutes about like maybe the pre-K program. When parents, because typically when parents, their first time that they come to know the school system is if they have a very young child.
Right.
So go ahead, take it away, Doctor.
So in our pre-K program, we have a curriculum called Tools of the Mind, and it is a research-based, play-based curriculum where kids are learning all these different skills around play. And then they transition into kindergarten, and then they have 2 different curriculums for math and language arts, and we have some science in there, kindergarten science, right? Not science as you would know in the upper grades. But then they start to learn ELA, language arts, and math and social studies and science in different ways, more concrete ways. And then they'll move through that. We have a certain amount of programs that allow students to experience different things. We have our LEAP program, which is our local enrichment arts or academic program, which we offer to all the kids, which gives them experimental-based things, once or twice a week or 2 times a month, whatever it is.
Is that at a point where in the child's education where a teacher may say, well, that child might be gifted in a certain area,
so for
and
us,
they might want to try to key that child in that direction?
For us, and my personal belief in being an educator, for me, you could separate very few kids at that age because a month or two, when they're so young, can be so large in the development of their mind. So we offer those experiences to everyone. When we get into 4th and 5th grade, that's when we start to say, okay, well, we might want to offer certain students an extra opportunity to see if they could succeed at a different level. So we'll do that in 4th and 5th grade. We have our intermediate honors program that we introduced last year, which was very successful. Yeah, it is. It's very nice. And again, it's in addition to their regular program, but they'll have an opportunity to take a more accelerated, more deeply themed curriculum in math and language arts. And from there, they'll go into middle school with some opportunities to take accelerated courses in math and language arts again. And then other opportunities as they get into 7th and 8th grade to take high school courses in middle school, specifically in math, Algebra 1 and geometry.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had that when I was in school.
Right.
You know, the whole college credit thing,
Right.
I understood. I think that was like the first
Sure.
sort of, right, but doing that at junior high to high is awesome.
Yeah, so we will typically see a good number of students be able to take Algebra 1 in 8th grade and then go
great.
right into geometry and so on when they get into high school. So it gives them a little bit of a step up when they get there. And the students who don't are exactly where they need to be, and they go into high school and take exactly the courses they need as well.
Hey, one of the things that was, of course, do some teachers sometimes feel intimidated by the students doing the technology on? Because there's always going to be those couple of students who are real whizzes at
the way I always embraced as a principal to my teachers is allow them to teach you. Right? That will increase the value in what they feel they belong. Right? But yes, some do. And we offer training as much as possible, as much as they need, to try to allow the teachers to use technology as a tool. Right? They're not teaching technology. They're using it as a tool to deliver instruction.
Well, I think that's probably the difference now versus what it was when we went to school.
Absolutely.
Because at that time, the instructor in the classroom just had a book, and this is the way it had to be.
Right.
But now, in computer and technology, everything's being learned on the fly.
Sure.
And it's not necessarily written in a book that this can't be done because you're forming new apps and things all the time.
And technology is very difficult to keep up with. And I'd love to give a plug to the Board of Ed for being so supportive in the technology and all of the initiatives and programs that we come. And Shelia is one of 9 members. With me being a new leader of the district, we have a new leader of the board, Dr. Tom Connors, and all 9 members volunteer their time and do a wonderful job in, again, supporting everything that we try to do. And I used the word initiatives and programs a minute ago. We really want to try to embed these things rather than just saying, well, that's a new program or that's a new initiative or things like that. But thank you for all the support and everything that you do and all the time you volunteer. It's unmatched.
Well, we couldn't do it without you, Dr. Ranelli.
Yeah, and we're going to hold that thought, and we're going to come back after we do the monthly announcements, and we're going to delve into, I guess you're on the Cultural Arts Committee, so we're going to get to that, so it gives you some time to think about what you're going to. So with that, we're going to go to our monthly announcements. I just want to remind the viewers our mobile shredding returns to Riverside Park on Saturday, September 7th. This lasts from 9 a.m. to noontime, or when the truck is full, it's free. Please bring your confidential or sensitive material. This is for paper only. I got to reemphasize, it's paper only. No trash, no other recycling. Piscataway residents only, and please bring your ID for that. There will be a September 11th remembrance ceremony sponsored by the Piscataway Elks. Is having an annual remembrance ceremony in the evening of that day on September 11th. The public is invited to hear remarks and take part in a candle lighting down there. We want to thank the Elks Lodge for sponsoring that. On Saturday, September 14th, Piscataway Township Domestic Violence Crisis Intervention Team is putting on an evening of fun with painting, and you can order your tickets for now for this fundraiser at Holmes Marshall Fire Company. I want to thank the volunteers at the Domestic Violence Intervention Team. And as a reminder, we need your help in preventing flooding along your property. Please keep the storm sewer grates free of clear debris. Also, please do not dump grass or other debris into catch basins because it will help stop pollution in our streams and in our rivers also. And last but not least, the township order prohibiting feeding geese and other waterfowl. And there are several reasons. For example, birds develop bad dietary issues and diseases. And I know, as Dr. Ranelli thinks, we have problems in the park. You have problems on the school property with geese droppings out there. It's not a good thing for kids or anybody from the general public walking around. So I appreciate all the folks that don't want to see the Canadian geese starve, but believe me, they're not going to starve. They have a way of finding the feed themselves. But just remember, especially in these public places, it is a public health issue.
Yes.
With droppings out there. It's a public safety issue. So that concludes our monthly announcements. So I guess I got to find out. Are we going to some video feeds, or am I going to go to Shelia Hobson? So I guess it can go. All right, we're going to go to you. We're going to go for you for a couple of minutes there.
Okay, great. So I'm on the Cultural Climate Committee. And it really has been something that I've enjoyed doing. About 3 years ago, prior to my getting on the board, a program was started called Inspire. And it's to inspire not just the children, but the teachers and the teachers and the community. And they have done some wonderful, wonderful things with that theme. And one of the things that they've done so far, they have made signs, and all of the principals have been, in particular, one school, which was it Shore School, or was it
Which one?
that has the
Inspire
signs? Yeah, is it Shore?
Every
or is
one.
It
Every school.
Every school has an
Right.
Inspire sign, but the signs that they started that they put all over
yes.
the schools.
Yes.
That was Eisenhower.
Yeah, Shore School.
Right?
Well, but it's an Eisenhower, and as well at Shore and a couple of other schools, whether it be in bathrooms, whether it be all over the walls, just inspirational messages.
Yeah.
You are wonderful. You're a rock star. You could be anything you want. And the
Be
Inspire.
kind.
Be kind. That's right.
That would be helpful in
Right,
this day and age.
uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I just want to add to what Shelia is saying about the Inspire, and then I'll get back to the Culture and Climate Committee. Our Inspire theme won a national award, a grand prize, a national award for school boards for the type of program it is. And again, it's showing the value in individuals, in understanding that everyone can be inspirational to somebody, and with kindness and with understanding. And the School Boards Association nominated it, and we won a grand prize, had to go out to Denver to get an award. So we're really, really proud of that Inspire campaign, and it's really been embedded in everything that we do, sort of the foundation of the district. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, absolutely, because you know about the program because you were involved in it. So yeah, and I'm just happy that now that I'm chairing that committee, and I'm asking the community to come get involved, come to our meetings. I believe it's the third Monday of the month, but you can look on the board on the website and find out. Come and get involved and give us some ideas, because it's about the children, and that's what we want to do. We want to inspire them because they're our inspiration.
Well, thank you. And now we're going to go to some more clips that happened throughout the month. The first one is, I guess we had some road projects. This is on Bakeland Avenue for the folks that live over on Possum Town Road area. The good news is I've been told by the county engineering department they're looking to have the road finished in October. So yay, it's going to be open. That'll end that detour that's been for about 9 months.
It's the worst road in the town.
Yeah, this was a very large project that was undertaken by the Middlesex County Engineering Department and the Board of Chosen Freeholders. This bridge needed to be reconstructed out there, and with all the economic development that's going on at Dow Chemical site, this is going to be a critical bridge for some of the traffic, traffic and
That's
employees
right.
that have to get to and from that
having more
site.
of the trucks using that, I mean, they did before, but it was in bad shape. That is going to be
I mean,
great.
as you can see, it was a whole new bridge decking and everything. And actually, if you can see, there's actually a sidewalk now on it where there wasn't one
That's
before.
shocking.
So, but that'll be run in tandem when Middlesex Borough and Piscataway Township go to reconstruct.
Somebody needs to open up
Bakeland
an
Avenue.
eatery over there for all those businesses.
Yeah, it's the border. It was a tricky thing, so Ranelli. You're dealing with one side of the road's Middlesex Borough, the other side's Piscataway Township, and so who has to pay for what, and it gets to be very interesting out there. So
I'm sure.
But I'll show another street, which I'm sure it's making near to dear for some of the teachers over at King School in Kanakamak. We did start the first third of a mile of the reconstruction of Park Avenue, which needed it. Unfortunately for us, the contractor went belly up during the construction, but we were able to finish out there with another contractor, and our Department of Public Works ended up paving the first before school opened up there. It will be striped next week, right there with all the crosswalks. So we're waiting for the striping contractor. But so next year we'll start from down in Ludlow, down by MLK School, down to Foster. So we'll do the next third next year. So very long street. So it's one of the only connector streets that goes from River Road to 18 now. So
It makes such a difference.
Oh yeah,
Makes
it
such a
does. Well,
difference.
more importantly, safety out there, because of the striping of the sidewalks and everything. So, and we have one other road project that we're going to go to, which is near and dear to me. This is the Stelton Road project from Ethel Road all the way to the Edison train station. Believe it or not, this has been for 21 years. This project's been underway. Government works at 2 speeds, slow and stop.
Right.
Obviously, but this was pushed by the former councilman Jim Stewart when he represented the 4th Ward in that area going back in the late 90s.
Wow.
And it took that long between Edison Township, the county, Piscataway, the Corps of Engineers, the Job Corps, and a lot of other DEP, DOT. I mean, there were so many federal, state, county, local agencies involved just to get the road widened. More importantly now, it's that now you have sidewalks on both sides, bike lanes, new signalized intersections with all the safety with the braille and everything, and the push buttons speak to you right there when you're at the intersection.
Nice.
So, which is also the largest project that the county had underway. It was a $10+ million road improvement project. So
It's a big, and you know what's so sad is though, once you get into Edison, there's just really nothing you can do.
no, most of it's Job Corps.
piece.
I mean, by the railroad bridge.
Right by the railroad. I mean, what, I don't
It's the
even.
construction. It's going to be that way.
Yeah.
But at least on the Piscataway side,
on our
we have
side,
all
yeah.
the safety
Yeah.
improvements
No, it's great.
and everything else. So that
Yeah.
was good. It was, and we also had all the utility companies involved: water, gas, electric. Oh, it was a nightmare. The good news is that they're projecting to be finished before November. So
That's great.
Which should check that off the bucket list.
Yeah.
Of major projects that got on the way.
Yeah, just
so.
driving down School Street is wonderful.
Yeah.
Just that way, yeah.
It's a beautiful job.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful job.
And everybody's walking there. So.
Right. Well, this town, I know that's always been something that you've been a proponent for, and I think one of our former councilwomen, freeholder Camille Fernicola, was always about having it to be a walkable town. And if you think about the makeup of Piscataway and the families that are here that stay, you see them out walking without, even having a sidewalk. So it's really very important to have that in this town,
sure.
I think especially, because our residents definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah.
As well as they should, because that's what the amenities are there for. School is just not about learning in the classroom. There's extracurricular activities out there, and I know it's almost like the second shift of the school starts when school gets
That's
out
right.
at 2 o'clock or 2:30 or 3, and
Yep.
it seems like it goes on for another sometimes till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So we use
And there's
that.
that's a broad question out there.
You're not kidding. I don't even know if there was a question there. But, so we use that as an extension of learning. As a former coach, a high school coach, a certain amount is about the wins and losses, but we're also teaching about how to be better people, right? How to work as a team, how to sacrifice, right? How to understand, to communicate and things like that. So we really want to, again, use that as an extension of, okay, this is a different type of learning, but we're gonna do the best we can of teaching you how to function in another society, right? Another little bubble of an environment. And as you know, coming off our football team, 13-0 last year, 13-0 last year, and Kings of the North, right? You know, we open up this Friday, play Franklin, and then next week right back around against Saraville.
You know what, Dr. Ranelli, when I was a kid growing up here in town, they used to be, before the Franklin game, we used to have a big bonfire. They used to, believe it or not, just a little history for all those parents that are out there to my age. They used to, Department of Public Works used to go down to Camp Kilmer and knock down one of the buildings.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, at that time, the federal government let them go down and take it. And they would bring some of the stuff up to burn up on Green Acres.
Right.
The big bonfire. And
Wow.
and then the running thing is Franklin Township used to have a sign over Landing Lane Bridge saying Franklin means business.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, every year that wooden sign always ended on
In
the
the
top of the bonfire. I don't know how it got there. It just grew all these legs and walked over from Landing Lane over to Green Acres. But it always at the top right there to be burned for the Piscataway Franklin game.
So we're looking forward to another good campaign. You know, young kids, we graduated a lot of starters, but again, the coaches really try to teach these kids focus, life lessons, things like that. Girls soccer, we have almost all the returning starters back. They lost in a shootout in the finals of the GMC finals last year.
That's a tough loss.
Yeah, you're not kidding. One shoot at one penalty kick away from being GMC champions. They went far in the States, so we're looking forward to some good things. They have almost all their starters back. Girls volleyball, the tennis team we expanded, and now we have a full JV team and a full JV season. Wow. We have middle school football now, which is a great feeder program. But it doesn't just stop there. You talked about extracurriculars.
Curricular activities.
You know, robotics.
Which is one of my
STEM,
favorites because I look at that as that is the future for job creation.
Sure, absolutely.
For the kids to get jobs in the area.
Yeah.
And a lot of the companies that are moving in, you look at the new Best Buy, as Councilman Cahill knows, the Best Buy warehouse, it's all robotics out there.
Yep.
There was a large story in NJ Biz and in Politico about that site, how they're gearing up for the holiday shopping traffic. Here it is. It's only September, but they're gearing up for the mad rush, November, December shopping season. But it's all robotics.
Yeah.
You know, and the board supports all of the extracurriculars that we want to give the kids and offer to the kids. Again, our STEM clubs, our robotics clubs, drama in all the middle schools as well. The middle school performances are fantastic, as well as the high school performances. FBLA, we have two of our FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, right, going back to that. We have two of our kids as state officers this year, which two of our kids from Piscataway as 2 of the 10 state officers. So we're really proud of the things that we offer the kids, and it all goes back to the great work of the teachers and coaches who spend that extra time trying to change something.
And it's not just the hours from 7 o'clock in the morning until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's after hours.
Right.
So.
After hours,
Right.
absolutely.
Well, you guys must be doing something very good, because one of my former colleagues from my old job called me up and said, my daughter would just love to teach in Piscataway, but she cannot get in there. And I said, I cannot do anything for her, but send your resume over. And he's from Woodbridge.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah. So there must be a great reputation.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you for that.
So with that, we're going to go to some more video feeds. There we had the in the month of August, we had the celebration of the India's Independence Day that happened. It was sponsored by the Piscataway Asian Indian Senior Citizen Club. There, they had a nice event out there, and a lot of cultural events going on, and some nice spicy food that they had there too afterwards. So they had to eat there, and a lot of the seniors really appreciate that. And I know Councilman Cahill Shaw stopped there, and I think Councilman Ballard was also there. He practically lives over there, Councilman Ballard. So.
Councilman Ballard.
I don't think his wife lets him go anyplace else other than the senior center. So.
Yeah, she's okay when he's there.
Yeah. So, it was a great day right there. It's coming from United States being the oldest democracy in the world versus India, which is the largest democracy in the world. So we have a very unique situation with folks of Asian Indian descent within our community that there is a connection there, big time connection. We do have another clip. Speaking about the senior center, let's go. They're always partying over there. Let's go to the videotape. This is the senior center annual picnic out there. This was the, believe it or not, it was there was some of our folks from the community policing section of the Piscataway Police Department, which, by the way, they started a new program to have the Citizens Police Academy for the senior citizens out there. So what they'll do, and this is part of the mayor's wellness campaign.
Yeah, I can tell by
Give the
front-
seniors a French fries
onion
and onion rings.
I would like to know which part
So
of the wellness
I'm
program
sure
that's from.
the clinical doctors are not too happy with my
I don't know. I think
fried
the
chicken.
cameraman knows what you like.
You gotta like just boosting their cholesterol a little bit there. That's right. And nobody does have to take Lipitor or anything like that. So we have another clip. I want to thank the River Stream Clean team that came in and cleaned up. Everybody was out there, and Councilman Cahill was even in the Raritan, right?
I did. I went into the Raritan.
Right there to do a cleanup. We had a lot of people. You know, it's very amazing the amount of debris that they still pull out. But although a lot of the folks that are in the boat scene now, after the 5th year now of doing this, Shelia, that the river is getting a lot cleaner. They're finding less and less debris in the river.
Do
Right
we
there.
have a drone?
This is a drone footage that was taken.
Sweet.
So right there around this, the 287 bridge, that's looking south towards the bridge from Middlesex.
You know what, Mayor? As I'm looking at this, is
And
there
that's
going
our-
to be a plan to sort of dredge the river at some point? No?
Don't hold your breath with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
But that's right down there was our boat launch that we renovated. And this
Yeah.
is some of the debris that was taken out. As you can see, they're all in separate piles because for recycling purposes, everything had to be separated
And
out.
tires seem to be a big thing, although somebody told me from the group there that they've pulled out mattresses from the river.
Yeah, mattresses. I just, you know what? I just don't get it with some of these people shit that, you know, we have that, you know, you can come to the recycling center in Piscataway. You get 4 coupons to drop off all your heavy stuff right there, or you get curbside pickup.
Or
There's no
curbside,
reason
yeah.
for dumping stuff
No,
like that.
Right,
No,
right.
no.
You know, it's all the illegal dumping that goes on. I mean, I just look at like when we have even with the state and county corrections comes in and helps us out on some of the roadways. You know, they go in and they clean it up, and then like 2 weeks later, it looks like they were never there.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
yeah, yeah.
That is what we need to remind the children. You know, to get on their parents' case, not to litter,
Absolutely.
because you know it does cost money, and you know it just makes the town look unsightly.
Absolutely.
I live on River Road. You should see the things from my house. I go up there and I pull. I'm like, what in the world is somebody tossing this out their window for? I mean, I won't go into it, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it's there. We're going to go to one more video, and then we're going to come back to Dr. Ranelli and Shelia Hobson. Let's go to the last one. This one's a quick gander of the community center. They're moving along out there. This is the plumbing in the bathrooms. Those are the pools that are in there. And I got to tell you, it's incredibly watching the IBW and the plumber fitters unions in there, and steel in the block. The Masonaries Union, that they're spraying the on the outside. That's the weatherization before they put the decorative outside. So, but right now they're approximately 3 months ahead of schedule, and sometime in May of next year, and they should have everything buttoned up by Thanksgiving, where they're slowly going to heat it, the building will heat it, and then they're just going to be on the inside. But they are working very expeditiously out there.
They are. It looks great.
It does.
I enjoy riding down and just looking at it. It looks great.
You know, it's hard to believe, Dr. Ranelli, that we only had the groundbreaking was in March. They started moving soil at the last week of February, and we were very fortunate enough that the winter cooperated, spring cooperated, the summer cooperated. So once they button the building up, it's it's all the building straight's all on the inside. We were very fortunate that this contractor, Terminal Construction, who was low bidder, is used to doing very large projects. They did the expansion of the Rutgers Stadium back 25 years ago. But it's like they said, if they're around after July 1st, they've lost money.
Yeah.
They're in the business of making money. They don't want to be around.
Sure.
They're on time and under budget. That doesn't
Right.
happen too often this day and age.
Yeah.
Extracurricular activities. How does the district keep in tune at times? It's like when something new comes along the line, something get formed to meet that obligation?
Yeah, so many of our extracurricular activities are started by students that come and say, is it possible for us to have something like this? And if there's enough interest, if they could find an advisor, a lot of times we'll have it on a volunteer basis for a year or so. And we want to offer these opportunities to the kids. So then we'll have a full-fledged club. A lot of cultural clubs now, which are wonderful. Health and wellness clubs that we have now. Community center plays right into that.
Oh, yes,
It's
absolutely.
wonderful. I mean, we have taken a very big stand on health and wellness, physical, mental, emotional, of our staff and our students. We have mindfulness activities almost in every grade as part of really what we try to do. We feel very strongly that if you can't take care of yourself, you don't have much to give, especially with our staff.
Well, I do have to admit, Dr. Ranelli, there is going to be a large pizza oven over at the community center.
That's okay. You could balance. I was looking at the onion rings. I was getting a little hungry before with that video, and you could balance
So
that.
did you ever see one of the local pizzerias, the big ovens?
Yeah.
We're going to have one of
that's
those.
great.
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
But,
But it
no,
goes-
it's actually
Yeah.
going to be a teaching kitchen also.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
that goes along with the balance. Right?
Yeah.
It's into finding that balance in your life of everything. So we do a lot with that.
yeah. Well, I have to laugh. Believe it or not, a lot of the high school coaches actually were polled on what type of equipment they would like to see in the community center. So a lot of that was bought was all geared towards by a lot of the coaches at the
Right.
various sports right there. So it's going to be the most state-of-the-art fitness center in all of central New Jersey. So, Councilwoman, you're going to have to spend your spare time over there along with me.
And as you can see, I like pizza, and I need to use the equipment.
Well, that was the funny part, is because we were walking through the building, and I'm thinking, all right, so the spin room's here with the athletic sticker there, and then the pizzeria, so the smell of the pizza is
Oh,
going to
boy.
be permeating the building while
Yeah,
you're
they're
Yeah.
just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do, once they finish pouring the steps next week, when they get further along after November, I know the high school swim coach has been asking to
great.
take a look at the pool
Yeah,
and stuff
that'd
like
be
that.
great. We can sit down and number one, take.
I
a look.
got to
can't
tell
wait.
you, did you ever see the Olympics, when the Olympics is during the swim races they have the down camera
Yeah.
and they watch to follow the races?
Yeah.
That's exactly the system we're going to have.
Oh,
boy.
fantastic.
So, and not only that, there will be a separate camera on the scoreboard, so you'll see everybody's time as you're looking
That's
down,
great.
and then
Yeah.
live feed over the internet to do that, and then everything when they go dive off the block, it starts the computer, and the touch pads at the end, so
Wow.
everything's synchronized right there.
That's
That
fantastic.
That
yes,
is.
it is.
So,
That's great.
I didn't. Now the bad part, I don't want to embarrass myself if I try to do that myself and see what I come in with a 40-meter swim right there.
I loved
I may
that
end up
when I was in
sinking.
a regional school, the swimming. And when we moved out of that town, my high school didn't have it.
Okay.
And I really missed it because it wasn't just about races, but we
Yeah.
did synchronized swimming in the pool too. So there was a synchronized swimming club that I absolutely loved to be part of. So that's awesome.
It's kind of funny. You start showing stuff and things start getting built that the phone's ringing off the hall. People were asking for swim time. Can we pay for it right now? The building's not even finished yet. I don't even want to pay for it right now.
Well, that means that people will come.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that's wonderful.
Well,
Yeah.
before we have about 3 minutes left
Okay.
before we close out, is there any last minute that you two would like to talk about? Right there?
Well, Dr. Ranelli touched on the health and wellness, and I really wanted him to expound a little more on it because it's so important, for our children, for the teachers. Working at Rutgers, I was with the program called Cop to Cop, and, we did a lot of things involving helping law enforcement officers with their wellness. And sometimes we forget how important it is about your mental health, and this program is great for that. So
Yeah, a lot of what we try to do is make sure that students have an adult in the building that they feel they could trust or they can go to. I'm looking forward to, in my transition to the new seat, to something in the order of, quote unquote, Piscataway trained mentors, whatever that means to us, right? This way students, again, could have some place to go. We work well with Rutgers, again, another counseling program, the Haven, that they come in and they help us. They have offices in our building, in our high school building, that they help us with. But again, it's just that feeling of belonging, something to look forward to, understanding how to balance everything that they have on their plates. You know, kids who have 4 or 5 AP classes, how do they deal with their time, right? How do they deal with the stress?
Right.
So we talk to parents, talk to students, and we really try to hit it from all angles, our wellness. And again, the staff. Can't take care of our kids if you're not well yourself.
Absolutely.
No,
Well,
and that's important in light of everything that we know that can happen.
Yes.
Doing that is very
Yeah.
key. So thank you for that.
you're
That's
welcome.
wonderful.
Well, you know what? If you notice with the school opening up nationally, the biggest trending back-to-school item was bulletproof backpacks.
Yes.
Isn't that
Sad.
terrible?
It's
Yeah.
so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, you've coming from law
Yes,
enforcement.
It is so sad. I never thought in all the years, I was in law enforcement 27 years, and I never ever envisioned that there would be a time that our children would have to have bulletproof backpacks.
This is absolutely crazy.
It is. I mean, I had a vest, but I went out and kicked indoors. So I didn't think that it would come to a point where our children, just trying to get an education, would be put in jeopardy.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's a sign of the times that both the
Yes.
school district and also the local municipal government have to work together on that, because
Yes.
it's a huge problem that can happen any place
Yes.
in this country. And I understand, with our own colleagues, my mayor's colleagues out there. We're going to close out the show, but before we do, I just want to our condolences out for those people who lost their lives down in the hurricane down in the Bahamas right there. I know there's a lot of folks in Piscataway from the Bahamas right there, and I know our Councilman Ballard there is from Bahamas himself. So with that, we're going to close the show out, and we'll see you in October.
Only you and you alone can thrill me like you do and fill my heart with love for only you. Only you. Bye-bye love, bye-bye happiness, hello loneliness, I think I'm gonna cry. Bye-bye love, bye-bye sweet caress, hello emptiness, I feel like I could die. Bye-bye my love, goodbye. We were teaming, dreaming, front seat, and baby, don't give me fear. Put me on the cover, on stone uptown, down on American Kid. Growing up in little big towns, making out on River Road couch, blowing that smoke on Saturday night. We the best of, but we're all alright. Hey. Give me the beat, boys, free my soul. Wanna get lost in the rock and roll and drift away again. You're giving me away.